Alright YouTube, so I discovered a little bit of a treat yesterday. I wanted to let her finish doing what she was doing, so I left her in there with them. And you can see that's my little nest box I have. Just some moist moss. What we're going to do is we're going to try to pull the female out of here without flipping too many. But there is indeed some eggs in here. So, start out by trying to take off some of this moss. Figure out where her head is. See some of the eggs there. Underneath this stuff. Some of them look good. And then there's definitely a bunch of slugs or infertile eggs. And the reason I'm saying that this is quite a treat is because this female already ended up giving me a clutch earlier this year. Unfortunately, none of the eggs were viable, so she might have just went through the notions a bit early, and then when I did put the male in there, she ended up retaining some of the sperm and doing what they call in the cornsnake world double clutching. Usually it's one time per season, but sometimes if all the conditions are right and stuff, they can end up double clutching. Takes a lot out of them. It's two batches of eggs instead of one per year, and this is this female's first time doing it. So just give me a bit. I'm gonna put the camera down, try to get a little more of this sorted. Well, actually, we'll just pull her out. Now what they'll do is they'll nudge you a bit with their coils and stuff. See, she's just trying to shove me away, keep me away from her babies. They're not really aggressive per se. They're a little bit placid. So what we're going to do is we're going to set her in there. She's done, I'm sure, because I checked yesterday. There's really skinny back end, and she's going to go into another shed now. So we'll let her put her back in her house. See if she'll forget about the eggs for a sec while I do my thing. So let's take a look here. You want to make sure you don't flip them upside down or nothing, because you can end up drowning the embryos. So basically either mark or remember how you found them, and you're going to want to put them all back like that. These look really small to me. They do look like some might be viable. So okay, so I pulled these three off. They were stuck to the other ones. If you get it while it's fresh enough, you can usually pull them apart, and I had to pull these two to get at them, so I made sure I left them top up. Usually the female will separate the slugs or infertile eggs herself, so I'm kind of beginning to think maybe none of these are fertile. Even though they look really good, they could just be unfertile. You can see there's another yellow one under there, but I'll have to flip too many things around, and this one's looking kind of yellow. You can try to candle them with a flashlight, but I'm just gonna take my chances and put them in some hatching medium. So what I ended up getting is I got a bag of vermiculite, and it's a gardening thing, so you can find it at any gardening place. You want to make sure you get stuff that's not scented or nothing added to it. So I'm just going to crack that bag open. I got my container here. I'm going to fill up. You can either leave a few holes, or if you check it often enough that you're recycling the air in there, that's even better. So I'm going to go to the sink, fill this up, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have my vermiculite in there. Also have some room temperature water that I always keep in here. Really though, you should have this all set up a few days in advance before you're expecting eggs. But this female continued eating, and all the regular signs that would have made me think that she was not gonna double clutch. So small batch of eggs, nothing too crazy. You get this rather moist. You don't want it soaking wet. You don't want it where you can squeeze water out of it. So I'm not sure what the exact mix is, but I usually just test it around, make sure it's not too dry, not too moist. I also like putting a piece of paper on here on top of the eggs and everything, just to gauge the moistness. If the paper gets slimy, then you're obviously a bit too moist, or if the paper's dry, then you can add water. I always add water to the sides, not directly on the eggs. Like I said, you should have this set up a few days earlier so that you're maintaining the correct temperatures. My snake room, I keep it at 80-85. A good temperature to incubate corn snake eggs is around 85-86. So you can go a little lower, it's just slower times. Anyway, so there's the eggs. So I'm going to pick up the ones that are separate. Make sure I don't flip them at all. Put them in the medium a bit. Surround them with medium. Vermiculate. This one I'm not sure if it's going to make it, so I'm just going to put that one to the side. Now, one more here. That's separate. And then this big clump. So I think they're still fresh enough I can start separating them. Just gonna make sure you leave the correct face of the egg up, so that, like I said, you're not drowning the embryo. I'm gonna need 2 hands for this, so 1 sec. Okay, so I got them all apart. Don't attempt that unless you are being able to pull them apart easily, because after a while they do stick in the clump pretty good together, and if that's the case, you just bury that in the vermiculate, not too deep, and hope for the best. So I'm gonna say there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That one I'm not so sure about. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 good eggs, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 slugs. So like I said, I'm gonna cover that up with newspaper. Keep a tight watch on it for the first few days. Make sure my humidity and my temperature is constant. So I have my little thermometer here, 84 in the room, not too bad. I'm going to leave that right in there with them and put the probe down into the stuff, into the vermiculate, just so I get an accurate reading. This is in an airtight lid. You might want a tighter lid when it gets closer to hatching, just so that they're not all escaping. But I got about 60 days to go, so should be fine. I'll keep everyone posted. Hopefully we get some pippies soon. Gonna put them right up here. Keep a tight eye on this temperature gauge.